Minister, good morning and thank you very much for your time. I mean, it is good news that finally, after such a long road, government and the private sector coming together to make sure that this fund now has been set up and it's up and running, and pointing out that it is not a women's issue, indeed, that we're dealing with here. It's a human rights issue.
Yes, thank you very much, Jen, and thank you to Advocate Madumise for her inputs. And I must say that I know for a long time, years and years, it's been a struggle and a fight to actually get women's issues to be recognized at all levels of government, but also even with the private sector. But in this particular case, we're dealing with gender-based violence and femicide, and we're all aware right now that the private sector and government and civil society are joining hands to work and just improve in terms of services that we need to give, whether it's with regard to what Madumise was talking about in terms of the justice system, or whether it's activities that need to happen at a local level. As a Department of Social Development, I believe that dealing with the gender-based violence and femicide, it's something that needs us to deal with it house to house, street to street, community to community, using the community-based organizations because they're closer. So we're looking at the district development model, which the president announced. We're looking at getting volunteers. We're looking at, importantly, at empowering your NPOs and NGOs who are on the ground, because most of the time they complain about financial resources, about cars, about being able to take victims to the police station and all that. So what has now happened is we can see a united action and a united front, both by government and the private sector. And I agree with Advocate Madumise that the companies that are giving the money, it's not about just giving the money. It's about them being consistent in supporting government, supporting private sector, but fighting it within their own corridors is very important.
Yeah, this morning we were asking our viewers here, we have a viewer question, Minister, I don't know if you are aware of it, but we were asking our viewers about the setting up of this fund and any concerns. And it seems like some of our viewers, or those who responded this morning, the majority of them have concerns about whether or not they can trust that this monies, this fund, will actually reach the people that it is meant to reach. I mean, we asked them about this government and private sector joining hands, and whether they trust that the monies that have been pledged will actually benefit the victims directly. How would you allay the fears of the majority of our viewers this morning who do not trust that the women will actually benefit from this?
Well, I think yesterday there was already a discussion with regard to a system that has already been put in place to make sure that the money is accounted for. Remember that the president himself spoke to that issue of ensuring that before even the money was announced, there was already a system that has been put in place. Let me also just remind you that already the Department of Social Development spends per year 7 billion from the fiscus to support NPOs and NGOs. So it must not always be looked from a point that maybe it's just government that is not spending the money properly. We don't keep the money, Moyane. We give the money to the NPOs and the NGOs, and like I say to you, we spend 7 billion. That money is not spent by the department, it is spent by NPOs. What we need to do is to make sure that the NPOs themselves, one, are the correct NPOs that have the systems, that have accountability. Two, is the right NPOs that are known by the communities, that are known that they are acting in the communities. That's how we have to make sure that the money is accounted.
Now, from a social development perspective, you said you agree with Advocate Madumise Pachibo's point about the criminal justice system. From where you sit, because you work with these NPOs for a long time as social development, which parts of the criminal justice system would you want to see benefiting from this new fund in a way that will make sure that women who are abused, who are sexually attacked, who are raped, when they intersect with the criminal justice system, they get the service that they deserve, they have the access, and they're treated with dignity?
It is the NPOs and the NGOs that normally work with those women, because many of the women are in far-flung areas. Many of the women are in areas where access to even transport, just to get from where you are to the police station. But also it's about the NPOs and NGOs that work with the police. Because when you talk about the justice system, we talk about justice system that is sensitive to the needs of the women when they have been raped, who takes them first and foremost even to the police station. When they get to the police station, what happens in the police station? So from that point of view, I'm aware that some of the companies have said they would like to support police stations where the women come so that they can be able to be given a space that is sensitive to, so that they don't stand in the queues and be busy explaining what has happened to them. I'm aware, for instance, I used to work for Vodacom many years ago, that Vodacom used to support the police stations and have special places, offices where these women can. Those are the areas which we think it's about giving dignity to the woman who has been actually, her dignity has been stripped. But when she gets to the police station, when she gets to court, she must really feel that we are on her side and justice must be seen to be made.
Minister Lindiwe Zulu, thank you very much for your time, Social Development Minister, because this is good news in the fight against gender-based violence in our country, which, as the President has said, is a second pandemic that we are facing, and a disgraceful one at that.